my honest opinion about certain waifus, part 4. And of course, this one is about AtomEve from the show. Now, her real name is Samantha E. Wilkins, but no one calls her that. Oh no, on the internet nowadays, she's known as either a great feminine icon or one of the many people in the series who actually easily killed the Viltrumite. And of course, when people say that online, they're referring to Eve's abortion. Now, some hate this and some love it. And this isn't a political channel, but I will give my opinion about the matter, since Knight's not here. Hey, stupid, behind you. Hey, this is my video, get out of here! Oh my god, okay, Grouch. Yeah, that's right, scram. Now, do I really care about Eve killing her baby? Well, naturally about this issue, if I saw that it wasn't mine, I wouldn't care. However, because I am a cat, and because this is a story, and because of certain contexts in the story, I'm afraid my opinion on this one is complicated. Here's the thing. You know how some women say in real life, my body, my choice, I can do what I want, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you. What about me, Karen? What about me? Every time I try to get a little freaky in the hood and bag me a fine cat lady, somebody tries to cut my balls off. Why? Because you're a cat and they're just trying to neuter you so you don't spread your seed everywhere? Exactly. Hypocrisy at its finest. When it's you say your body, your choice. But what about me? What about my balls, Karen? You're a cat, you don't have any rights.
What did you say, nigga?
Cats get neutered all the time, voice, and one of the main reasons is to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Oh, hell no! So Eve has the right to kill her baby, but I don't have the right to keep my balls because I'm too much of a freak. Is that it? Huh? It's not exactly that's what I heard. Listen here, Karen. Stay away from my balls. My balls, my choice. And matter of fact, what about Mark's choice? What about Viltrum's choice? What you talking about, voice? Well, let's just focus on how stupid this abortion decision was in the context of the story. Because think about this, and hear me out. At this point in the story, Viltrum's gone, there's only like 37 Viltrumites, and Viltrumites are so scarce right now that they're actively trying to repopulate their numbers with strong Viltrumite babies. And she very possibly just killed the most powerfulest Viltrumite baby that could ever exist. Because think about it, the Viltrumite baby would have had her DNA plus Mark's, meaning they could have possibly had her powers plus the Viltrumite's powers. Now, this isn't 100% a certainty because their future child, Terra, doesn't acquire any of Eve's powers, but does acquire all the standard Viltrumite powers. And this could be because Viltrumite genes are dominant. But either way, this is a fictional story, so it could have been a thing, and now we'll never know. All because she didn't want to be a single mom because Mark was at war. Here's a common sense thought though, and many people may take this personally. I don't really care, because when you try to cut off my balls, you get the claws. Just like when you try to milk a cow, you get the others. If you don't want to be a single mom or a single dad, all you gotta do is keep your legs closed. But no, apparently that's too hard for Eve and Mark and most people in the real world. And then when you're pregnant, you're like, oh my god, I didn't know this would happen. Really? You didn't know you could get pregnant from having sex? Or were you just being irresponsible? If you read the comics and watched the show, even Mark was doing it all the time. And that's crazy to me because you're ready to have sex, but you're not ready to have a baby? And if you read the comments and you watch the show, you know that Eve basically had an abortion because she felt she couldn't handle being a single mother in a dangerous world without Mark's support. Now, Mark's support is important, but what about mom? What about dad? What about Cecil? Now, her parents may suck, but they would have helped her. And Cecil has connections. And if Cecil can use a teleporter that every time he teleports costs like $5 million per use, then he should be able to give Eve some help, one way or another. And honestly, I figured this out by reading that in the comics, Cecil actually did help Eve with her pregnancy with Terra. In fact, he recommended the help of an independent contractor named Sherry. And Sherry is supposed to be a specialized contractor for high security, superhuman safe environments. And in the story, she basically helped monitor AtomEve's pregnancy. And she gave a place for Eve to stay while she was pregnant. So this means if Eve just went to Cecil to begin with, she wouldn't have had to kill her baby. It's almost like she wasn't thinking. And to be honest, I think this whole abortion topic in the comics and in the show was just put in there to be controversial. The writers knew some people would like it and some people wouldn't like it. But either way, she did it. Now, do I hate her for this? No, not really. It's fiction, I'm a cat, I don't really care. Just stay with my balls. My honest opinion about Eve, when I think about her character overall, is meh, she alright. Now, in her little special episode as a kid, she was awesome. I loved every bit of that. She showed not only that she was smart in the episode, but also that she could fight. And that, honestly, she's overpowered. But they ruined her in the show. They ruined her in the main Invincible show. Tell me something, viewer. How does she go from this to this. Kid Eve would be ashamed. All she ever seems to do in the Invincible show is shoot pink blasts at people that barely work. And I know what you're thinking, viewer. Oh, she held off Conquest for a little bit in the show. First off, I wouldn't call that holding off. I would call that being a distraction, which more or less could be the same thing. But don't forget, Conquest could have speed blitzed her at any time, and there was really nothing she could have done to Conquest to really end him. But I will admit, that big blast she did do damage to Conquest. Now, if she could have done that 100 more times with no effort, I would have been impressed. Unfortunately though, that didn't happen. It took one good hit for Conquest to kill her, and the only reason she's alive is because of her regeneration and her resurrection powers. So basically, whenever AtomEve dies, her internal power limiters are temporarily lifted, and this instantly activates her abilities to fully heal all injuries and restore herself to life. Now, some would call this plot convenience, and I would say that Eve is basically a walking plot convenience, because with her overall powers, she could be more effective in the show, or more or less more powerful than most characters in the show, if she could actually use all her powers in the way they were meant to be used. This guy explains it well here.
Eve can manipulate all matter that's not living, so why doesn't she just turn the facehugger into water, or just disintegrate it? She could do the same thing to all the Flaxen's guns and tanks. Just turn them into toy guns, or into sand, or into water, or she could just disassemble them completely. And then when they fought the Flaxens for the third time, she did nothing, she just bubbled up and Omni-Man came and saved the day. She could have ended this fight in like 10 seconds if she took 2 seconds to think. She kind of has like a lesser version of the Reality Stone, mixed with like Green Lantern's ring. She can really just do whatever she wants, but she usually sticks to just pink shields and blasts. Alright, next is her fight with Doc Seismic. As soon as they pull up to fight, Eve says, and I quote, "We need to take out his gloves." Mark even makes fun of him.
You're wearing earthquake bracelets!
So they know the bracelets are the source of his power. The bracelets are not living matter. Turn them into sand, or air, or water, or just completely disintegrate them. Or turn them into literally anything. She's turned pine cones into f***ing drinks. Actually, she's been shown that she can kind of use her powers as telekinesis, so just take the bracelets off of him. Literally any of these thoughts should have been the first thing she thought of, but instead, she shoots her pink little blast things, and Doc Seismic flies away.
I blame the writers for this. I really do blame the writers for this, because if Eve had no limiter, and she actually used her powers correctly, and I won't go over all her powers here, but here's a list of them just in case you're curious. But with her limiters off and her at full power, she can even take on characters like Drag. And no, I'm not kidding. With her limiter removed, she can easily influence his mind or alter his memory. And with her limiter removed, she should have the power to affect all sentient matter. And my main problem is, even with all this power, she basically becomes useless as soon as a Viltrumite enters the room. And sometimes, even with normal enemies, she's useless. I didn't see her take out one Invincible variant, but Rex did, and Powerplex did. The only Viltrumite she killed successfully was her own baby. And honestly, that's just lame. I would really love her character more if she didn't feel like Krillin in the Dragon Ball Z universe. Matter of fact, no, Krillin is better. Krillin won where it counted the most. But honestly, I don't even think I can say the same for Eve, because I really don't think Eve is a ride or die for Mark like that. And I say ride or die sarcastically because she can't really die. But here's why I say that. In the comics, and yes, this is a spoiler, after a 5-year period where Mark is missing and believed to be dead, Eve has a relationship with an alien named Cubian. Now I get it, she did think he was dead for 5 years and thought he would never come back. But if you're gonna make it to the waifu list, you gotta be ride or die. You gotta have Chi-Chi levels of resilience. Because when Goku died in his universe, Chi-Chi never cheated. And yes, Goku's died more than once in his universe. Plus, he could be brought back with the Dragon Balls. But my point is, Chi-Chi didn't cheat, even though she could have. She could have had Piccolo in them sheets, but no. And she wasn't scared to be a single mother. Now, y'all can say what y'all want in the comments, but Chi-Chi is what I call a woman who really doesn't need no man. Because if Goku leaves to go save Earth, best believe she's gonna hold it down at the house without even feeling the need to cheat. But Eve? Now maybe this can't be considered cheating, but she does go to D tier on the waifu list. Because she not only got with another man, she got with a man that had tentacles.
Here's what we know about this strange alien species. Most of what we know about this race comes from us from Telia and Alan's repeated scenes in the comics, since of course Telia is a bit different than her role in the show, where we find her actually having some power and importance. In the comics, she's basically always asking Alan to sleep around whenever we see her, but it takes over 100 chapters to actually see what's going on when these two get to howling at night. Eventually, we learn that when Telia's alien race mates, they actually sit back to back with their partner, holding their heads together against each other as Telia extends her tentacles all over Alan's body, seemingly reading his thoughts and having some sort of, let's say, mental scuffle, for lack of better words.
Eve tasted the blueberry and she liked it. Now, to be honest, I think the one thing that makes me mad about this situation is that Mark isn't more upset. If he was more upset, I wouldn't feel like I needed to be upset. But because Mark has been through a lot and still has to go through stuff like this, it just makes me feel bad for him. Because honestly, he deserves better. Now, I know a lot of you are typing in the comments as I speak, especially about my abortion comments, but if you're upset about what I said, don't expect the apology. Cry yourself to sleep. My main points are obviously that it didn't make sense in the story, and that's why I don't like it. I don't really care about the political aspect of it in real life. But I do care about true gender equality. So if you're gonna scream my body, my choice, then stay the hell away from my balls. I'm coming into your hood and taking all your bad bitches. It's gonna be quick too, you won't even see me coming. All you're gonna hear is
Pow! Right in the kitchen.
Oh, and before I forget, I say a lot of bad stuff about Eve, but she's not the worst character in the show. Or at the very least, she's not the worst female character in the show. Amber's another one I hate for obvious reasons. Then you got Duplicate, she ain't shit. Monster Girl is just a lolly. Eve's mom's a fat bitch and she sucks. Anissa though is bad, but you know, also. Now Shuriken Ray, Debbie, and Oliver's mom, smash! Now there are probably others that I'm missing, but I don't give a f. So have a good day, and stay away from my balls! Bye!
Why did you want it all again?